Hello friends, in today's session we are going to discuss the case of Mathura Prasad versus Dassi Bai. Let us first briefly understand this case. In this case, the Supreme Court delivered an important ruling on the principle of res judicata. Dassi Bai had leased a piece of land to Mathura Prasad on which he constructed a building. A suit was filed to determine the standard rent for the property. However, the Civil Court and the High Court dismissed the suit, holding that Section 11 of the Bombay Rents Act did not apply to open land. Later, the appellant filed a fresh application before the Small Causes Court for rent determination. This application was rejected on the ground that the previous decision was binding under the principle of res judicata. The Supreme Court overturned this decision, stating that if a court, due to a misinterpretation of the law, either refuses or wrongly assumes jurisdiction, such a decision will not be binding under res judicata. Consequently, the court allowed the appeal and set aside the previous ruling. Now let us study this case in detail. Answer: Appellant Mr. Mathura Prasad versus Respondent Srimati Dassi Bai. Reference AIR 1971 SC 2355. Case summary. This case is based on Section 11 of the Code of Civil Procedure. It presents the principle that if a court, due to an erroneous interpretation, concludes that it lacks jurisdiction, the doctrine of res judicata will not apply to such an incorrect decision. Facts of the case. In August 1950, the respondent Srimati Dassi Bai leased a plot of 555 square yards in a hilly village in Taluka Borivali to the appellant, Mr. Mathura Prasad. The appellant intended to construct a residential or commercial structure on this land. After constructing a building on the leased land, the plaintiffs or appellant filed an application before the Civil Judge, Junior Division, Vokhri, requesting the determination of the standard rent of the leased land under Section 11 of the Bombay Rents, Hotels and Lodging Houses Rents Act 1947. Trial Court Decision. The Civil Court dismissed the plaintiff's application, ruling that Section 11 of the Bombay Rents, Hotel and Lodging House Rents Control Act 1947 does not apply to open lands leased for the purpose of constructing buildings for residence, education, business or storage. High Court Decision. The Bombay High Court upheld the decision of the Civil Court. Consequently, the appellant filed a fresh application before the Small Causes Court, Bombay, for determining the rent of the building. The primary reason for filing this application was that the village where the leased land was located fell under the jurisdiction of Bombay. However, the trial court dismissed the application on the ground that a decision regarding the leased land had already been rendered, making the High Court's judgment applicable under the res judicata doctrine. This order was upheld by both the trial court and the Bombay High Court. Aggrieved by the decision, the appellant obtained special leave to appeal before the Supreme Court. Supreme Court Decision. The Supreme Court ruled that if a legal dispute has already been settled between the same parties in a prior case, then res judicata applies in a subsequent case, but only if the foundation of both suits is the same. However, if the causes of action in the two suits are different, or if the prior judgment has upheld an act that was legally prohibited, then res judicata will not be applicable. Additionally, if a court, due to an erroneous interpretation of the law, determines that it lacks jurisdiction to hear a case, such a decision will not be binding under res judicata. Similarly, if a court, due to a mistaken understanding of the law, wrongly assumes jurisdiction and deliver a judgment, such a decision will not operate as res judicata between the same parties in a subsequent suit, regardless of whether the case of action is identical or different. Final judgment based on the above facts, the Supreme Court overturned the previous decision and allowed the appeal. Legal principle established by the court. In this case, the Supreme Court established the following legal principle. Point A. A mistaken decision by a court regarding its jurisdiction cannot be deemed as a final and conclusive determination. Point B. If a court, due to a legal error, assumes jurisdiction and adjudicates a matter, such a decision will not establish res judicata in a subsequent suit involving the same parties. Please watch full video, share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.